Do 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 do. Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant. Fauci, yes? Promise us, please. We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease. Restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me.
This girl is on Pfizer! This girl is on Pfizer! She's hopped up on Pfizer! This girl is on Pfizer!
Hiya, Pfizer.
Hi, Ben.
You got any extra shots?
Sure, Ben.
Sleeves up.
I'm a Pfizer girl in a COVID world. I'm the classic, mRNA-tastic, 95%. There's no argument, got no contagion with my vaccination.
Come on, Pfizer, let's go party.
With a fast time.
Come on, Pfizer, let's go travel.
Only if essential. Oh, we're having so much fun.
We'll have to do this again for my second shot.
Oh, I love you, Ben. Hi, Daddy.
I've been on Twitter 10 years. I have never been a typical white woman who apologises for disgusting white behaviour. I did a video about A. Louise the other week, and Jazz and Tanya and that told me not to post it because we didn't want to cause trouble. I made a comment on Dr. Louise's tweet the other day thinking she was being attacked by fascists. So instead of anyone putting me right, yous all attack me and tell me that I'm a typical white woman crying me white woman tears. I'm living in a house where I don't feel safe. I've been unemployed and stuck here for months. It was the anniversary of me fucking mum dropping dead 10 years at the weekend. So my head's been battered and I made one comment, defending my friend thinking she'd been attacked by fascists, and instead of any of the people who've got my phone number or my details ringing me and going, Sarah, you were defending Louise here, and she was actually out of order. She's supporting people who are racist, blah, blah. And I'd have been like, fucking hell, mate. I'd have took the tweet down, I'd have rang Louise. But I didn't get that. I got told I'm a typical fucking white woman with me white woman tears. Look at my history in fucking life. On Twitter, I've never been blindly pro-white in my life. Do you know what, mate? I am dealing with shit that would send most people to a rubber fucking room. And I made one comment. And it's like, oh, no, I'm not actually. I know, why would I ever defend racists? Why would I ever defend racists? But instead of telling me that, I get attacked and told I'm a scumbag and all the rest of it. Yous can all go and fuck right off. My life is falling apart. I'm living in a fucking house where I don't feel safe. And I make one comment, and instead of going, Sarah, you're backing the wrong person here, do you know what's going on? I get told I'm a fucking scumbag, white bitch.
So, Tucker, you think you're a big man? Telling people to go around and harass people who are wearing masks outside? Well, let me tell you something real quick, pal. When I'm outside and I know there's going to be a group of people around, I wear a mask. And I don't do it as some form of obedience to the government. I do it just because I'm not a dickhead. All right? So, actually, you know what? Let me put this to you the way that your audience members and your base would totally understand it and probably say it back to me. How about that? Hey! Won't you come here and say that to my face? You come up and harass me about wearing a mask. Let me tell you something real quick. You might not catch COVID, but you will catch these hands, you motherfucker.
Israel is losing out. They're losing the media war despite their connections. They are losing the media war. The tide is turning.
What are their connections?
Deep pockets.
What does that mean?
Well, they're very influential people. I mean, they control media.
I mean, I would call that an anti-Semitic remark.
Free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries? Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this? Let me check with Bill Neathart. Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This could be breakfast? Okay. I want you to look at this and think about, again, some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life. But if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination. Vaccination. I'm getting a very good feeling about vaccination right this moment.
There's gonna be people that don't like what I'm about to say. But Jesus is pretty much the one deal breaker. And that might seem confusing because I've said you don't have to believe in God to be Jewish, and we're taught to question everything. But Christianity has skewed our religious texts and used them to prove that Jesus is the Messiah, when actually, according to our religious texts, Jesus cannot be the Messiah. If you believe in Jesus, you're a Christian. And Christianity acts like Judaism is incomplete and it's the completion of Judaism, and that's offensive. Whether or not we're religious, this is our culture. We've been persecuted and killed for thousands of years because we wouldn't convert to Christianity. And to believe in Jesus is joining the other team. If you convert to Judaism, you have to leave Jesus behind. And if you're a Jew who decides you believe in Jesus, it feels like a betrayal to the Jewish community. I hate to use the word traitor, but that's what it feels like. Because that's the one thing. That's the one thing they've used to try to control us. That's the one thing they've used to try to erase our identity and our culture. Is Jesus. They've killed us over Jesus. And I know that there are people that have converted for their own safety and to literally save their own lives, and I'm not talking about them. I'm not judging them. Sorry.
I mean, the guy's just a lighter version of David Duke. So, I mean, that's all he is. The debate even made that clear. Good logic was a good, because he didn't know Fuentes at all. And so I was curious how he would respond. And his response was, man, that guy just hates Jews. I mean, he just hates Jews. It came through crystal clear. So, I mean, when you're saying you would rather have Islamo-fascists have nuclear weapons than Israel exist, that should give people a clue. It's not America first he's driven by. It's Jews last he's driven by.
Well,
Catherine Watkins, 8th grade humanities teacher at Cedar Park Middle School, and my pronouns are she, her, we, and us. I'm going to say something that's not nice and not sweet, but it's true. If you're not evolving into an anti-racist educator, you're making yourself obsolete in this field of profession. Our district is only getting browner and browner with our children. And so if, obviously you can't change your melanin, all right, but you can change your mind so that you can actually function in a district that is full of BIPOC children. So if you're being resistant, I understand that, but you're going to have to eventually come to the light, because if you're going to keep with those old views of colonialism, it's going to lead to being fired, because you're going to be doing damage to our children, trauma. And so as we fire the teachers who sexually abuse our children, we will be firing the teachers who do racist things to our children, traumatize them. And while our district might not be completely on there, OEA is working on it. All right, NEA is working on it. And so it's just a matter of time. So it's like you either evolve or dissolve. You've got to start walking with us.
Maybe I'm a different breed. Maybe I'm not listening. So blame it on my ADD.
America, love it or leave it. If you don't have respect in American democracy anymore, if you don't respect Madisonian checks and balances, if your guy doesn't win, if that's the new rules of engagement for this great republic, then just leave our country. Because you're unworthy of it. And there are millions of immigrants who will come here and raise their right hand and buy into the creed and believe that we are exceptional, that believe American democracy is the greatest government on the face of the earth. And they will do it proudly. They will salute the flag proudly. And most importantly, they will fight for what that flag represents while you shame yourself. While you disgrace yourself, while you disgrace our country in the eyes of the world. Yes, this is all on you. Get the facts, live in the light, follow the truth, and love this country, and stop this. Or leave. Or leave. If you're going to believe a reality TV show host's lies about the American Republic, is desecration of American exceptionalism, then just get the hell out. We don't want you here. That's all I got to say.
You couldn't have said it better.
Well, thank you.
No, I really appreciate it.
As the conflict between Israel and Palestine simmers, there's a war of words happening online, adding fuel to an already hot anti-Semitic fire. Writer Eve Barlow calls it the social media pogrom. In an article detailing her own experience with online hate, she says, quote, "It turns out that vehement online anti-Zionism inspires people to engage in anti-Semitic violence offline, endangering Jews as a result. In the streets of major cities around the world, Jews have been targeted with fireworks, with fists, and with human spit. Who knew this could happen? Well, we did, and we tried to make noise about it." Joining me now is the author of that piece, Eve Barlow. Eve, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Ben.
I am furious about the kind of things that I'm seeing repeated across social media today and fueling this type of actual violence against Jews in America that I thought I never would see. How should we react to that for those of us who are not Jews in order to support our friends in this moment and also push back against the acceptability or tolerance of this type of violence against our fellow Americans?
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing right now is a historic pattern in which anti-Jewish hatred, anti-Semitism is risen again. It's not just on the rise, it's risen. And the conflict between Israel and Hamas has given anti-Semites the permission to attack Jews in the streets, in cities around the world, regardless of their politics, regardless of whether or not they support the state of Israel. This is an attack on Jews, and it has given permission to people because of the vehement hatred and language that they are seeing around this online because of the propaganda that is being spread. Of course, there are a lot of people that are spreading this propaganda that don't realize that it's anti-Semitic to do so, but they are being pelted by, millions, hundreds of thousands of retweets of misinformation that is being shared by celebrities, by people who don't understand the history, the factual truth of the situation, and who are spreading mass propaganda about this conflict that then enables anti-Semitism to exist in the streets. We know by now that what happens online does have offline consequences, and this is a really frightening example of how that is manifesting against Jewish people.
The word that you just used there that's so important is propaganda. I feel like in this era of social media, celebrities, it used to be that celebrities were just kind of like dumb people that we put up with saying stupid things occasionally. But now when they're sharing propaganda to millions of followers, it has a way of spreading. How can we push back against that?
I mean, what is the reason why I came up with the term social media pogrom, and I realized that that is a very emotional term, and it has created an emotional reaction because the pogroms have been happening for thousands of years. They are massacres that occur in places where Jews live that drive and expel Jews out from the places where they live and the societies they live in. And the reason I use this with regards to social media is because this is the first time we're seeing such an uptick in anti-Semitism while social media is an asset of our lives. And what is happening to Jewish people and non-Jewish people who are highlighting anti-Semitic violence on their social media platforms is that we are being ousted from those platforms, we're being trolled, we are being hated online, we're being sent death threats, we are being called libelous things such as racist, ethno-state fantasists, genocide apologists, apartheid apologists, evil liars. These are all of the things that are being pelted at people, regardless of whether they are Jews or non-Jews, when they have the bravery to speak the truth on this matter on the internet. So it's an expulsion of voices who are trying to counteract this. And
Eve, I think you're just an incredibly brave voice to speak out on this issue, and thank you for taking the time to join me on this tonight.
There have been no restrictions. And the number of internet users in Azerbaijan is more than 80%. Can you imagine the restriction of media in a country where internet is free, there is no censorship, and there are 80% of internet users? We have millions of people on Facebook. How can you say that we don't have free media? This is, again, a biased approach. This is an attempt to create a perception in Western audience about Azerbaijan. We have opposition, we have NGOs, we have free political activity, we have free media, we have freedom of speech. But if you raise this question, can I ask you also one? How do you assess what happened to Mr. Assange? Is it a reflection of free media in your country?
We're not here to discuss my country.
Let's discuss.
No, President
In order
Aliyev.
to accuse me, saying that Armenians will not have free media here, let's talk about Assange. How many years he spent in Ecuadorian embassy? And for what? And where is he now? For journalistic activity. You kept that person hostage, actually killing him morally and physically. You did it, not us, and now he's in prison. So you have no moral right to talk about free media when you do these things.
Returning to the conflict,
better return to the conflict, because this is not what you like. You like only to accuse, only to attack. But look at the mirror. Look, I tell many times, before coming and lecturing us, and in your question, accusing me, it's not a question, it's accusation. You talk like a prosecutor. Why? If you're so democratic and so objective, why you keep Assange in prison? For what? You keep him in prison because of his journalistic activity.
I'm not keeping him in prison, President Aliyev. But
you don't like this.
It's not a question of don't like.
You are not used to this.
It's not the
because
subject
you are
of our
used
interview.
Only to attack.
It's not the subject of our interview. And with respect,
No,
President
it is not
Aliyev,
the subject of interview, but you raise it.
You raised it.
No, you raised it.
You raised the case
you
of
said
Assange.
Armenians, if you don't have a free media in your country.
I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor, an actual medical doctor.
I've practiced medicine for 21 years.
I am a critical care nurse.
I've been a nurse for 16 years.
I spent 4 years in undergraduate school, then 4 years in medical school,
and then another 5 years as a resident in emergency medicine.
Look at all of my diplomas.
I worked a second job to put myself through nursing school.
I'm 53 now, and I won't have my student loans paid off till well after I retire.
I can name every organ in your body and tell you exactly what it does.
Did you know there are between 60 and 100,000 miles of blood vessels in the human body? I know that because I've studied human bodies.
Did you know the human body has 205 bones? Well, you're wrong. It's actually 206.
I did know that because I'm a doctor.
Did you know that eating raw ginger cures cancer? You didn't? Good, because it doesn't.
I've saved people's lives.
I've cracked open a chest and manually beat a human heart.
I've even delivered some babies in the back of cars.
Do you know how many people have shown me weird skin things at parties and asked me if they were dying?
Too many.
My life is spent trying to improve and save yours.
Oh, but you read something on Facebook?
Your friend from high school who sells jewelry, she posted it?
The one who's 53 and still builds dollhouses?
You heard what? On whose podcast?
Is he a doctor? No. Scientist? No.
Can he name one of the ingredients in the vaccine?
Can he point to his gabella?
Then tell him to shut the up. The Bordello's right here, by the way.
Isn't that polio shot we gave your kid, and then your kid not getting polio? Well, those two things are related.
How about this? You do your job, I'll do mine.
Get the vaccine.
Get the vaccine.
Just get the vaccine. Grow the up and get the vaccine.
And tell your friend on Facebook to stick to jewelry.
Is crazy to me. I get that people are skeptical of politicians or celebrities telling them what to do, but we should listen to doctors. These are men and women who've been on the front lines of this thing, risking their lives to save ours, and they're frustrated, and who could blame them? If we don't get more people vaccinated, we could see new mutations of this virus and go through this all over again.
Get the vaccine.
Get the vaccine.
Just get the vaccine. Grow the up and get the vaccine.
There's a societal responsibility that we should all have to put an end to this outbreak. And if you have a group of people who understandably may think that they're invulnerable because they're young and healthy and statistically the chances of their getting into trouble when they get vaccinated, therefore it doesn't make any difference. It isn't just you in a vacuum. You may inadvertently and innocently infect somebody else who will infect someone who really get in trouble. So you can't think about yourself in a vacuum. You have to think about somewhat of your societal responsibility. So that's really the frustrating part, Jimmy.